Little Bible 101. We tell time by AM and PM. If I said it's 9:45, let's say it's 10 o'clock right now, I'd have to say AM or PM, and of course unless you actually have your eyes open, and you would guess that it's AM. In the Bible, and they will say it was the 3rd hour of the day, or the 4th hour of the day. They only kept time from 6 a.m. to our 6 p.m. So if this now would be what hour of the day? Almost the 4th hour of the day. Now once you get to 6 o'clock at night, and it no longer is the hour of the day, it's called a watch. Are you with me so far? So from 6 to 9, one watch, and from 9 to midnight, second, and midnight to 3, third, and fourth watches, from 3 to 6 a, and then you get back into the hour of the day. Are you with me? Okay. If Jesus came walking on the water, and Rick said it was about the 4th watch, what time was that? 3 a.m. to us. All right. I want you to get that because there'll be something in the middle of the sermon. We'll refer to that, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This scripture follows the one that we did last week of the feeding of the 5,000, not including men and women, of course. In John's Gospel, after this particular feeding of the 5,000, the people began to clamor and say, "We want you to be our king." And they kept shouting, "We want you to be our king." Matthew doesn't have that. All he says, "Get in the boat. You get in the boat, I will dismiss the crowd." I think that's what you read. And so Jesus dealt with the crowd and said, then he went up on the mountain. Kind of a misnomer. Remember, if you remember, I said the Sea of Galilee is like a saucer, a bowl, and up on the rim, you can walk. It's only, as I mentioned before, 7 miles wide, 14 miles long, and you're able to see. By the way, people will say to Scripture, people who believe in Scripture, is that stuff really true? How do we really know that that's true? Well, people who know history and to deal with history said, the Scripture said in the feeding of the 5,000, Jesus said, "Sit down on the grass," which means it had to be springtime. And then referring into springtime about April, which is the normal Passover time. Are you with me so far? And in that particular year, during Passover in April of that particular year, they're going back somehow able to see that there was a full moon available during that time period. And if that were true, I guess I want to believe that that's true, Jesus, on the top of this rim of the Sea of Galilee, could clearly see across the lake. He sent his disciples across the lake. He was praying, getting direction as Jesus always did. Where do I go now? I pray for the people. They just try to make me their king, God. What do I do? And those kinds of things he began to work through. And then suddenly a storm came up on the lake, which is not unusual for the Sea of Galilee. With winds and all of that, suddenly a storm could blow up. And if you were out there, and it said the boat was being buffeted. And it was about the 4th watch, meaning 3 a.m. Isn't it amazing that Jesus was still awake at 3 a.m.? Still having his eye on the disciples, what they were doing. Or they were in the boat. Let's go back to the boat. They were in the boat and the storm comes up. And then what did they begin to do? We're going to die. We're going to be thrown overboard. Why did we even sign up for this chicken outfit? I mean, what is going on? We followed it. Can you hear it? It doesn't say it in the Scripture, but can you hear it? I don't know if I signed on for this. This is too dangerous. I mean, I could be back home. But there they were, buffeted by the sea. And suddenly they looked, and here it comes. They thought a ghost. Why? Well, no man can walk on the water. No man. And at this point, they probably didn't have a total clue of who Jesus was. Remember, we're just following the story just a few hours. He took 5 loaves, 2 fish, and fed 5,000 plus, had food left over. You heard that wonderful sermon last week, did you not? That's kind of... Anyway, and so they just finished that, had all that left over. They just saw that. How could that happen? This Jesus made it happen. And now they're in the boat. Can't believe that this could even be Jesus walking on the water. And Peter said, "If that's you, Lord, let me walk on the water, if you say so." And Jesus said, "Come." Peter, who always dealt more in heart than head, gets out of the boat and begins to walk. And the scripture said, Rick, did you say he was walking on the water? I can't imagine what the guys in the boat were saying. It's just too unbelievable. And suddenly it said, Peter began to sink. "Lord, save me! Lord!" And Jesus reached out his hand, got him, and they got back in the boat. What happened when he got back in the boat? It said the wind ceased. By the way, I reread that because I read it before the storm was over. But the scripture actually said the wind ceased. It still could have been raining, thundering, I don't know, but the wind had ceased. And they got back into the boat. They couldn't believe it. They'll say that this is one of the few passages in the New Testament where it indicates that they fell on their knees and worshiped Jesus.